Hello viewers, welcome back once again to the Drivers of Change show on MPC TV. My name is Emmanuel Chum Entry, and today I have with me in the studio special guest from two great universities in Kenya. And it's all about a campaign that is going on everywhere you pass in other higher learning institutions in Kenya. I think almost, if not all. And I will allow them to introduce themselves and tell us what their agenda is. So, on my immediate left, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Beryl. I'm from one of the universities in Kenya and also an ambassador in the Campus Me Too campaign.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hello.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you. My name is Lucy. I'm also a student from one of the universities in Kenya, and I am an ambassador of the Campus Me Too campaign.
Okay. So, I think before we even start the show, like I can see a fist in your t-shirt. Is it for war or anything? And what is written in your t-shirt?
Nina Power.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nina Power. What's Nina Power?
Nina is Swahili. It
Oh.
means I have power.
You have power.
Yes.
I see. And you made mention of the campaign called Campus Me Too. Where from the name Campus Me Too? What is it about?
Okay, when you talk about Me Too means inclusivity, like it's something that's not affecting one person. It's like we are in a group like Me Too, it affects me. And you see, upon that we also, now our target is an institution of higher learning. That's where the name came from.
Oh.
Because it's a campus, that's the setting. And Me Too, that means it's inclusivity. That means it's not you alone, yeah? Everyone is like, me too, I'm being affected. Me too, I'm being affected. And this brings around the revolution movement, and that's why we even have a feast, making to ensure that there's power.
Oh, okay. So it's not just a fist to punch someone, but then it's like I have power.
Yeah.
I see. Is it a Kenyan movement, or is a like a Pan-African movement, or a national movement, or just maybe the big schools in Kenya only?
Well, it's a Pan-African movement.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but it started in Kenya.
All right. So the aim is to spread across.
Yes, the aim is to spread across anyone who's been affected by sexual harassment who's a student.
Oh, the campaign is basically to end what? Sexual harassment.
Yeah, so basically the campaign is to end sexual harassment in institutions of higher learning. And it also came about because it's something that's prevalent, it's taking place in institutions, and that's not just talk, it's statistics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who started the campaign?
The campaign was a group of student leaders who sat together and just came up with an idea, because if you look at the Sexual Harassment Act of 2006, Section 23, it only protects a minor. That means what happens to victims who are above 18 and are being harassed, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What happens to them? Because even when, and maybe if you're above 18, you're only covered if it's a rape case. But we can say sexual harassment is not only about your sexuality. There's more, there's verbal and non-verbal forms of sexual harassment.
Okay, so you are telling me student leaders came together. Is it from one school or from other universities?
No, from other universities, from many universities in Kenya.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they didn't just wake up one day and like, let's fight against sexual harassment. Was there any case where they were getting a lot of reports from students about sexual harassment? That's why they decided to start this campaign.
Well, for one, there's a trend about sex for grades, which is something that is very much known, but the sex for grades is more victimization than fixed on perpetrators. So this was to change the narrative, to stop looking at victims and more at the perpetrators.
Okay.
Because as a victim, yes, we are a country of victim blamers, but if you take the control of the narrative and you focus on the perpetrators, then you're able to infect change.
Okay.
So yeah.
So it was mainly because of the sex for grace, and I think sex for grace was not only in Kenya. I remember, I think somewhere along the year we we heard issues from other countries. Yeah. Also campaigning against sex for grades, and I think there were some perpetrators, as you said. So, okay, if that is the case, what about staffs who harass students sexually, but then they are not your lecturers? They don't, you know, when they do that, it doesn't even affect your grades. Are they exempted from the, you know, from the purpose of the campaign?
Okay, no, they're not exempted. Mainly, our campaign was focusing ending sexual harassment between the lecturers and the students, or staff members to the students. But we realized that 60% are lecturers, because we directly interact with them in our lecture halls, in our classrooms, as compared to these people like cooks and maybe administrators and maybe security people. So they cover the bigger percentage as compared, but we are focusing on staff to students. But on the higher percentage is only lecturers.
Wow. So staff to students, is that not bias? Don't you think there can be situations whereby some students who can be harassed by staffs? And
that's why our campaign is sexual harassment. Yeah?
I'm sure.
It's harassment. So that means it's something that has been done frequently and you've not consented over it. So
is there an advocacy for lecturers or staffs who are being sexually harassed by students?
That's
or you don't think students are so
no, actually I'd like to answer that question.
Okay.
We have statistics of students who have been harassed by staff, and very specific to lecturers, you know. So we're asking, are there statistics of lecturers who are being sexually harassed by students? Are there lecturers who've reported those cases? And even if they were there, I would want to still refer to the Constitution, which, as much as it's not protecting those who are not minors, it still states that a person who is in a position of power, the Sexual Harassment Act, it's very specific on people who are in a position of power. So in this case, it's about power. It's a power play, because the lecturer has the power to say no. If this student is actually, you know, harassing them, they have the power to say no.
Yeah, they're supposed to kind of give moral guidance, not to take advantage of a situation.
Exactly.
Okay, so you made mention of the lecturers haven't reported to anyone, so you can't campaign for them. But do you think every student who gets sexually harassed is able to report?
Every student who gets sexually harassed?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's exactly why we have this campaign, so that we can enable students who are sexually harassed to be able to report and get justice.
So you are creating a platform for them.
Yes.
So we want to break the silence, mobilize and organize as many victims as possible, and that's why we even went ahead to signing petition, collecting of testimonies and all those, and also creating awareness.
When did you start all this?
It started last year, at around June there.
Last year in 2019?
Yes.
Okay. So you started by telling me that student leaders came together and they launched the campaign. Then from there, what has been the progress? What have you done? Do you have any support? You tell me more.
Okay, when the campaign started, we started by a group finding ambassadors to represent each institution. That's why we have many institution on board, many institution representative on board. That's from around maybe 10 universities or institution of higher learning. Then from there we did clips by Imara TV, whereby we are creating awareness. We have done a lot of creating awareness through posters, poetry, art, all those. We went an extra mile. We even had the 5 demands, whereby we are calling to action for them to be implemented. Apart from that, we also collected 11,000 signatures, which we handed over to the Ministry of Education on 10th December. And we are also waiting for them to implement. They have not implemented and they are silent on it. And that's why we are also on them, because they are making another mistake by getting silent on it.
Okay, so apart from the TV, you've gone and Is the government supporting the movement?
That's why I'm saying they're silent about it, and that's why we even did things like press conference to summon them or to call them upon to implement this, because it has to come from them. They have to implement these policies to institution of higher learning, and if they get silence on them, we've even written to them a memorandum. We've not received any feedback from that.
Maybe I think it's because of how you're doing it. Like, I want to know how you've done it systematically. Have you do you have a backbone, like somebody who is pushing the agenda apart from the student? Is there any organization that is saying this movement is good, maybe from gender or from any other organization?
Okay, we've tried to use media, because we also need to expand our territories by bringing as many people as on board, and also increase on the number of ambassadors we also have.
Okay, so far how many ambassadors do you have?
In each institution, you can say it varies from each institution. You find some institutions have even close to 50 to 100 ambassadors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just in Kenya or from outside Kenya?
In Kenya.
Oh, okay. So what are some of these ambassadors? Like, like the main backbone, those who sponsors, because I'm sure you go on, campaigns, you need water, you need t-shirts like what you're wearing. Like, who sponsored? Is it the leaders' money or what?
No, this, like we say, this is more of a student-led event, and we're trying as much as possible, we keep it amongst the students. If anyone who's touched and want to help us address, will always come on board. But to see these people might come and leave, and it will still remain students. That's why we even when you go to these places, we just ask for well wishes to help us or to come and support us.
So far, have you gotten any well wishes?
Our well wishes can be your parent, your brother, your sister, an activist who's passionate about your
individually.
campaign.
But then as a group, I think we have the gender department here in Kenya, Commission of Gender. We
do have an organization, Action Aid. They are they support youth movements that are effecting change, and this is one of the youth movements that's effecting change. So they have come on board to support us, and that's how we get like the t-shirts. And we get some help from them. And there's also UN Women is also on board. So
wow.
Yeah.
Then the campaign has gone far.
We have Vunja Calabash, and Imara TV.
Okay.
Well. These are just partners who come on board to help us.
No, I'm amazed you've been, you're sponsored by Action Aid, UN Women. It means like you've made progress.
It is a campaign that should be making progress. So we're very grateful when they come on board, because it means they see what we are doing and they believe in what we are doing.
And we believe in sustainability, because at the end of it all, we're going to ensure there's quality education, and also gender equality has been addressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I can see like today you came and both of you are ladies. Is the movement, a gender biased movement, like just a campaign, ladies are the victims, or it is a ladies movement, or do you have other men who also supporting?
Well, we have male ambassadors. It's just that they were not available for this particular interview.
Okay.
But we have male ambassadors, and let's talk statistically. Worldwide, like globally, women are more prone to sexual violence than men are. And even in the statistics that we collected, it's 48% of female students and 24% of male students. So at the end of the day, it's females who are more affected, but that does not negate the fact that men are also affected.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that means like 1 out of every 4 men are sexually harassed, and 2 out of every 4 ladies.
I like it when you emphasize on men, because you can bear with me that men can attest to it, that we are also being sexually harassed in schools, indirectly or directly, just that we don't talk a lot. So maybe they mostly undermine us, that we are not suffering. Because like personally, when I was on campus, I was a victim by chance, Not I can narrate my story a bit. I was not raped, obviously. But then what happened was there was this TA, teaching assistants, or I don't know how to call them on your campus. You know, they are not lecturers, but maybe master students who are, you know, they call them to come and take this course and all that. So I remember one day I was working with a friend of mine, a lady, just after class. So I think this guy saw me, you know, he was our teaching assistant, he was assisting the lecturer, he was a master student. So he asked me like, after like I departed with the lady, he asked me, who is that lady? I was like, oh, it's a friend. He was like, do you have the number? I was like, no, I don't have the number, but I can ask because like I knew her like a few days ago. This guy thought I was lying. So he was like, I'm giving you one more chance to give me the number or we will see. That was the end. And at the end of the day, our first cut, I realized what I wrote, though I didn't see my marks, but then when the exams, I know I did my best. When the exams came, I had a grade that I can't even mention it here, you know. So later I just have to, you know, find my way out, report, and to no avail. So I think like this issue usually affects men, just that mostly we don't voice it out and all that. But then let me ask, this Campus Me Too campaign to end sexual harassment, did you made any effort at the school level, maybe in your university, that it didn't work before you decided to go national?
One thing I can say is that there's funny thing about policies in Kenya, they're just in paper, written policy, but not implemented policy. For us to come up with this movement, that means there were all these resources are there, all these policies are there, but no actions are being done. And that's why we came about, because if they could have taken action, I don't even believe if the movement could be there. It's because there's no action. There are this department, there are these laws and these policies. It's just that they're just on paper, and we call them paper voices. So that's why we came up with the campaign and the movement, so that we can implement these policies. And that's why I'm telling you, we had the 5 demands. Which one of them includes like coming up with the gender officer who is not part of the university. Okay,
we will come to the 5 point agenda.
But also something else I think that you've asked, there are some institutions that don't even have the sexual harassment policy. So we're not focusing on one university. So if that institution doesn't even have a sexual harassment policy, how do students report? There's no guideline towards it.
Okay. Let's just take the benefit of the doubt that we don't know the institution that have or don't. But then I don't know, like in your institution, I know you come from a very big one here in Kenya. Do you have such?
Well, we do have a gender policy.
Okay, so all right. So this is the Drivers of Change show. We are focused on change, right? We are focused on helping change the system to make it a better one, and together we influence change and have a better world. Now I want you to like educate me. Maybe there's somebody watching the first year on campus, or somebody who is trying to go to campus, but due to the stories you are sharing, maybe they are a little bit scared. Okay, now let's say in case you are harassed sexually when you join campus, where do you go? Well,
I always like to start with, as a victim, there's always the question of, do I feel safe to report? That's a very big question.
Yeah, of course.
And I think from the materials that you've checked on our website and all those things that you've done in preparation to this show, you've seen there's prevalence of like let me give you a statistic first. When you're doing when you're collecting the signatures and all those things, we were also checking. We asked people, why don't you report? And 38% of female students said they can't report. And 33% of male students said the same thing, and they gave various reasons. One is they don't feel like the university is going to take this sexual harassment case as a serious thing. And so if the university doesn't take it seriously, then they don't feel like any action is going to be taken. And just to cite a case that I'm not going to state any name, but there's a case where a student reported case of sexual harassment. There's a policy in place, and the perpetrator was found to be guilty, and they were suspended from the institution.
Okay.
And this student came back to school. But then again, after she came back to school, then the lecturer was reinstated. So this lecturer already knows your face. They already know everything about you because they've been on one-on-one with you, and now they've come back to school.
Okay.
Already you're maybe in a way towards healing, because this causes you, psychological trauma. Then now the lecturer has come back to place. What my question is, are these policies strong enough, to make sure that this doesn't happen?
It means the lecturer was not sanctioned, or maybe he was not taken to the appropriate way, or maybe there's a way, but then I don't think it's a long process, or that can eliminate or imprison the lecturer or any perpetrator.
If the constitution itself is telling you to just pay 100,000 and you're free to go, I don't feel there's enough seriousness. Yes, that's what the constitution says. It's 100,000, and which lecturer cannot afford 100,000?
Wow.
So if that's at the constitution level, then what about at the institutional level? I just feel like as a country we're not taking this as a serious issue, and that's why most students will not report. And even if you report, there's this whole process of you have to provide evidence. It's a whole traumatic event, and if there's not airtight policies that are going to make sure even through the whole process as a student you're safe, then that's why victims are still reporting to, sending you anonymous messages telling you, oh, I'm glad you guys are doing this campaign because I have gone through this.
Okay.
But I can't report it.
Wow. That's I don't know, that's overwhelming, because if national level you pay 100,000 for committing such crime, then it means institutional level is going to be
even worse.
Yeah, less. It's going to be less.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think every lecturer can afford that. And this issue about producing evidence for sexual harassment, is that the case in the universities? Like if I report a case that I've been sexually harassed, I have to provide evidence or produce evidence.
Yes.
Wow. You
have to produce evidence.
Okay, so for the purpose of this show, this is the Drivers of Change show. Okay. For the purpose of change about all this sexual harassment, can you enlighten us on sexual harassment? Because I think there's somebody watching who doesn't even know what it entails. People think it is just rape, that is called sexual harassment and all that. So can you enlighten us a bit?
Well, sexual harassment is any unwanted acts of sexual nature towards a person. So it can be verbal, it can be physical, it can be non-verbal.
Yeah, even me winking at you with not your consent.
Wow. Then I think we've all been sexually harassed in one way or the other, multiple of times, because
and you don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I can wink at you and you've not consented to it. I'm sexually harassed.
Even winking?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Winking is
so how many people
non-verbal.
have harassed sexually?
But you see, the thing with sexual harassment most of the time is that it's something that happens over time.
Repeatedly.
So you wink at me today and I express that this is not something that I want to continue, but you keep on doing it. Or hugging, or kissing, or grabbing, or spanking.
Wow.
All those are
sending messages.
Yeah, sending messages, nudes, even asking people out on dates repeatedly, and I'm telling you that I don't want to go with you. This is sexual harassment.
Wow.
And the thing is, we've normalized it so much that people are not aware it's actually something that is serious. Look at you right now. It's like you weren't very much aware of what sexual harassment is, and until I told you what it is, then that's how you're realizing. So this has happened before.
I think then we all need to ask for forgiveness because this is amazing. So I'm sure by now you have been a victim by chance, or you have engaged in sexual harassment in one way or the other, right? You can also let me know your mind concerning this definition of sexual harassment in the comment section. So can we go straight to the the agendas, right? What agendas do you have? You said you have 5.
Yeah.
What's the first one?
Before you could even start on the agendas, I think I can just read like 3 testimonies from a different university.
Okay.
Okay, let me read from one. I was sexually harassed by my lecturer in 2016. When I was a first-year student, I went through psychological torture, which affected my concentration in class. I also had missing mark in that particular unit taught by him because I did not give in to his demands. There was one specific lecturer who kept calling me late hours at night, texting me to go outside Nairobi for a weekend, get away with him. I was scared standing up against him, as this could lead me to getting a bad grade or retake in his subject. I started avoiding his classes and ended up with a D in that particular subject. Yeah, and another particular testimony is my lecturer closed the office door and made inappropriate gestures that made me uncomfortable. I rushed out of the office traumatized, tensed, confused, and scared. I was depressed a whole semester and especially failed in that particular unit. My family disowned me because of my failure, not knowing of the true cause of for failing to pass that particular unit. Those are some of the few particular testimony. There are almost 100, which those who are willing, because of the campaign, they got motivated and are willing to share their stories, of which we are hoping that with time the number will grow of testimony. On to the 5 demands. I'll say part of it, and I believe here Lucy will finish up.
Wow. Before that, I think these testimonies, they are disheartening.
Yes.
Really. So imagine your sister, your daughter, your friend, your loved ones going to school just to acquire knowledge for the future, and then going through all these things. And most of them can't even voice it out to their parents, not alone even their lecturers or the school authorities. So I think this is a campaign that I think we should all join in any way possible, so that we will make the environment a safe place for studies. So we can continue with the agendas.
Okay, I'll say a part of the demand, and Lucy here will continue. I'll say the first maybe 3. The first one is educate newly enrolled student by maybe as they get enrolled, these are first years, through showing them educational maybe presentation or pictures on the forms of sexual harassment and how do they respond whenever they get sexually harassed, and what's the action they can take.
Okay.
Because at times some face this harassment and they don't know. You just meet someone who tells you that you have a good butt, and you're like, oh, this is normal, and at times it's not normal, and this you're just a naive girl from the rural setting or from maybe a particular part of the country.
Okay, so that's your first demand. You want when the new students come to campus at first, in their inauguration, as part of the program, they should give them like maybe a show section where they show them videos about it.
Education, maybe seminars about sexual harassment and the forms of sexual harassment.
Okay.
And this will make them aware that, oh, whatever, at times I might think someone is telling me this, but I might think twice now because I know it's harassment.
Yeah.
It's not on a good consent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, I think this is amazing. This is a great demand. And I think it will really help. If you agree with me, you can also tell me you agree with me, because imagine if this is done, at the end of the day, we are not even going to, experience much of those things. So what's the second demand?
The second one is educating the lecturers about sexual harassment, making them know that this is our policy, this is what we have on new people. And because some of them, you might assume they are lecturers, they are knowledgeable, but they are not. So by creating awareness.
Wait. I think you have to, paraphrase your statement. At the end of the day, they are lecturers, and they are knowledgeable, but maybe they are not informed
in harassment. Exactly.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. You train them on sexual harassment, and after the training, you can ensure that they sign the code of conduct to adhere to issues to do with sexual harassment, and also make them allies, we are not looking for opponents. We are looking for allies. We want them to join into fighting this fight together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I think that would be amazing. Imagine a lecturer joining this campaign, saying that let's put a stop to this. This is not good. We are parents too, and this is not fair. I think that is good. So the third agenda, or demand, right?
Yeah, the third demand is that we appoint a gender officer who is going to be in charge of facilitating the sexual harassment training and also providing resources to students who've been sexually harassed. And I think that's very important. Considering if we have all these demands, then we need a way of how we're going to report on all of these issues. So that's where the gender officer comes in.
So you need a gender officer in every higher learning institution.
Yes.
As like an office on its own.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
And they don't have to be from that institution. They have to be external people, so that to avoid things like biasness.
But don't you think the moment they set their office in the university, of course they are going to be part of the university?
You know, the problem we're facing is that most of the people representing these officers are even lecturers. And these lecturers are part of a perpetrators.
Okay.
So if you have a gender officer outside the university who's an external person,
whose role is explicitly on sexual harassment, and you're not involved in other issues, like you're a lecturer and you're also you're specifically a gender officer. People
protect their own. Trust me, if a lecturer goes to a particular lecturer, they'll always protect their own.
Okay, yes. So I think this is a call upon the Ministry of Gender. I think they can be best.
Yeah, and that's why at the beginning I said we even gave a memorandum to the Minister of Education to really implement these policies in institutions, because it's them to give a go-ahead to these institutions.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I think that is fair enough. So, to avoid bias and all that.
Yes, exactly.
So we can go to the next demand.
So the fourth demand is to establish a committee that students can report in cases of missing marks, and they present their issues, so that most institutions have a way. But if you report this, we've heard from some of the testimonies, you report a case of a missing mark to your lecturer, there's a way that the lecturer is supposed to help you. But then if this lecturer is a perpetrator, then you can't get your missing marks until you do what they want you to do. So if there's a committee that students can report to when they've received unfair marks, then the committee can handle that case instead of the student dealing directly with the lecturer who is sexually harassing them.
So aside the gender office, there need to be another commission.
Yes.
What's the difference between this commission and the gender commission?
The committee is specifically for unfair marks and students. It's a committee for students who have received unfair marks.
Okay.
It's not necessary that you are being sexually harassed because of marks. You can get sexually harassed by a lecturer. It's just that when they know that they hold the power to giving you the marks that you deserve, that's how they exert their power.
Okay, so this committee deals with internal affairs.
Exactly.
Okay, I get you.
So that we avoid dealing with the perpetrators or lecturers directly.
Okay.
Yes.
Like, for instance, it's usually done in the disciplinary cases whereby you have the Senate.
Yes.
What about we have such a committee for such issues? That means you will never have to interact with these perpetrators or any lecturers or staff members.
Okay, so you want to do away with the perpetrators, then
by having an independent body, a committee that handles such issues, internal issues that affect students. Because the person handling those issues may not even be your lecturer. It's just a person who's been told this
is
will deal with the statistic on table. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I think that is good. And the last demand, what is it about?
Is to incorporate all the 4 demands in a policy, in a sexual harassment policy that is for all the universities, and to keep on reviewing these policies over time, so that if there's change that needs to be effected, then we do the change.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So after reporting it, submitting these demands, like you were talking about signatures and all that. Who asked you to sign those signatures, or is it a demand? Is it demand from the Ministry of Education if you want to implement any policy?
No, the reason why people sign petition is to get numbers and also to reach out many. And also to advocate for our demands, You also have to sign a petition. And one of the ways to signing the petition is through signatures. for people to attest that it's really happening, and that's why we have this number, and that's why we managed to collect 11,000 signatures.
11,000 signatures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it from one school or
No,
From all the institutions.
all institutions of higher learning in Kenya.
11,000.
11,000.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
11,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not 101. Okay. 11,000. That's quite enough. So, what is the response so far from the Ministry of Education?
They have been silent.
Very
and-
silent.
And that's why, making a mistake, keeping quiet is making a mistake on top of already existing mistake. And that's why we've been doing all these things, so that we can call to them to act upon these demands, because we gave them the petition, we gave them the memorandum, and what are they doing with it? What do they
The
fear?
petition
or
was
what's
given
happening?
like last year.
Mhm.
It's been, when we were doing the press conference, that was 11 months, 2 days, with nothing.
So, don't you think there's a process you need to, follow?
We've followed.
We have
all-
followed all
the
those
process.
processes. This year we gave the memorandum and we were supposed to have a meeting with the ministry, but nothing has happened.
And that's why we are trying to be more aggressive and determined on whatever we want. We want our demands to be kind of addressed, and they're not being addressed.
If they'd been addressed, if the ministry had given a directive, we'd be here talking about something else, because already we wouldn't have to do something about, awareness. It's already in the demands. We wouldn't have to do anything about policies. It's already in the demands. But since they've done nothing, then we are here calling them out to do something.
So, guys, this brings us to the fact that we are all affected by politics, directly or indirectly, right?
Yeah.
And this is the awareness we want to create on the Drivers of Change show. I always say, most people say, oh, I'm not affected by politics. Politics never accomplishes anything for the people, and all that. My vote doesn't count and all that. Now, this is the situation whereby this is a critical issue and there is no response from the Ministry of Education. But we hope that some way, somehow, they are going to respond to it, and there will be a change. But then, this is an awareness to you that don't ignore politics in any other way, because one, just as you are now, maybe you are not a politician, you are not a student of politics, you are studying any other course, but then the moment you become a victim, you become a victim by chance, the fact that you are in a higher learning institution, and at the end of the day, you need this policy implemented for you to be safe, to have a safe environment for your studies. So this is what we are creating awareness on, and I think it's a good campaign. Everyone should support this. Apart from the signatures you collected from the students and all that, do you only work with the ambassadors, or like you still keep the students in touch? Like, they are expecting something to come out. What's the feeling now that they've not even heard anything from you guys or from the Ministry of Education?
The most key important thing is just communicating and keeping in touch. Anytime we have something on board, we always engage them. And apart from that, we even have our social media handle, whereby we always post and keep them updated on what's happening. And also, as time goes by, that's why we even got these testimonies, because someone is touched and feels like we are there for each other, and we are there to stand together. And once we stand together, we can really achieve a lot.
Okay, so I think there's a need to put your social media handle on board.
It's just at Campus Me Too.
On all
social media handles.
On Twitter at
Campus Me Too, Campus Me Too.
On
Facebook,
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
And we also have the website.
You have a website?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the website?
campusmetoo.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
So guys, you can access their website, campusmetoo.com. If you need any information about this campaign, if you want to support the campaign in any way or the other, in kind or in cash, right? Yeah, or you want to encourage them. This is a Pan-African movement, and I think it's not only here in Kenya. We need to extend the territories to other African countries, and it is very vital if we embark on it. So sincerely, do you want to reduce sexual harassment in our higher learning institutions, or you just want to bring a total stop to it?
Bring a total stop. It's against human rights. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't even be a little space of condoning. Let's just have a little, when it's no.
So in a case whereby the Ministry of Education comes out like, okay, we are going to implement your policy, but then we can't meet this aspect, we can meet this aspect. And at the end of the day, you're not going to get the concrete result that you want. What are you going to do? Are you going to appreciate it, or you are going to fight for more?
Okay, what we are trying to fight, we are fighting injustices.
Yeah.
And apart from that, we are also trying to break the silence and making schools a safe environment for learning, which has no longer been there. Yeah, people come to school with that perspective that this is a safe space for me to learn, this is a safe space for me to acquire knowledge, but see what they get in return. So we want to provide a safe space for people to learn, and above all, offer quality education that's worth one person or one's individual, not because I failed because of this person. Let someone fail because they decided not to study. Let someone pass because they decided to work hard. And apart from that, also achieve something like gender equality.
All right. So, your final words. What do you have to say to the people, those who think they are not involved in the Ministry of Education? What do you want to tell the government? I'm sure they are listening to you. They are watching.
Well, first of all, I want to talk to the victims. I always make it a point to talk to victims because we are a country that has, taken victim blaming and victimization on another level. So I want to tell victims, it's not your fault. It's not what you are wearing. It's not what you did. It's not why you were. It was the perpetrator's fault. It was his or her who decided, it was his or her decision to, sexually harass you. And sexual harassment is not a small thing. Don't think that it's not important enough to report. Don't think that it's not important enough that if it affects you, you think you're weak. No. Sexual harassment is serious. And also to call us, upon us as a nation and even globally, to act upon this, to do something about sexual harassment, and we don't want to wait for it to escalate until it becomes abuse, and that's when we are taking action. If we stop it at harassment, then it's not going to escalate to abuse. And second, to the Ministry of Education, this is your role. It's your duty, to provide a safe space for students. So why are you silent about it? Why are you silent about something that is your responsibility? We are doing something, but our hands are tied because we cannot implement these policies without your help. To the lecturers out there who are very supportive, we thank you, and we hope that, you're allying with us and we'll attract more of your colleagues to join the campaign. And to those who are perpetrators, I hope this has been more educative, and I hope you're reviewing your choices. I hope this is the end of what you have been doing. So I just want to call upon each and every person to join the campaign by stopping, by implementing the policies, and by being a victim and speaking out, and by providing a safe space at the end of the day for every single person. Yes.
Okay. I think that is loud and clear. We hope the perpetrators will put an end to it. So, your final words also?
Okay, I don't have much to say. I think that the show has just been interactive. What I can say is that we are just calling everyone to action because we are mobilizing and organize as many people as possible. And you're not here to create enemies or opponents.
Yes.
We're here to bring allies. We want people to stand together because I believe together we can fight this, because we are not there for any bad reason. We are there to bring togetherness and fight this fight together. Yeah.
All right. So I would like to thank you for coming and also enlightening your fellow youth and everyone, and then also out of your busy schedules you were able to come. I'm grateful. And okay, so thank you very much. I'm grateful. Thank you for coming to the Drivers of Change show. And I think indeed you guys, you have influenced change, and we are going to get a positive response. We hope everything goes well, and then get a safer place for learning. And I also believe that this thing is not going to end here in Kenya, because there are same issues going on around the world. Okay, so I also hope that it gets to other schools outside the continent, and even this country. So thank you so much once again. So, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of today's show. I hope you guys have learned something, and you are going to support this campaign. You are going to create awareness on this, and that is what we all seek to achieve. Thank you for watching us. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and also stay tuned anytime we bring you things that will bring change to our community, our environment, and our world. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Chum Entry. You can follow me on all social media platforms. On Facebook is Entry Emmanuel. On Twitter is @Chum Entry. On Instagram is Entry294. Entry294 on Instagram. Thank you so much. See you again.